Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be continuing what if Naruto had the shield from Rising of the Shield Hero. But before we get into that, I would please like to remind you all to leave a like on the video. I greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. It was like the day after. It's been a while since I've done this what if. But it's the day after Naruto left. So when Naruto left the Hokage's office, what Hiruzen was thinking about, it's the day after that. And basically Hiruzen is trying to find a mission to send Naruto on where they would have more surveillance over what's going on, just so he can get a better gauge of Naruto's strengths and weaknesses. So he basically sends Naruto on like this mission to grab a cat, but it's like a ninja cat, so you know. But Naruto basically grabs it without having a problem, because it's not like he came up to the cat all aggressive. The cat, you know, yeah. So he just walked up on it and was like, hey. Cat wasn't fucking with him at first, but that's not how that went. He told him, you gonna come here, you gonna come this Hokage, because I'm not gonna keep chasing you. Anyway, so basically it was a whole Naruto, between like the 3 days that Naruto was released from his little 3-year prison, basically, he was getting like assigned stupid tasks, like, oh, go clean, you know, something, go grab this cat and this dog, go escort these sheep and cattle and shit. And eventually, like, Naruto went to go see like what his next mission was, like the day after those 3 days. So at this point in his head, Naruto's had enough of these stupid missions. Like, one more and he might just literally consider just not, like, just leaving the village, because he didn't leave isolation with newfound strength just to be sitting here catching cats and cleaning gutters and all these other things. Like, he's not a janitor or like a dog catcher. He's a shinobi. He should not be sitting here doing things that have nothing to do with him, or, you know, things that lesser shinobi would be doing. So like, he goes and he looks, like, he asks Kakashi like what's their mission for today or whatever, and Kakashi basically tells him like, oh, we gotta escort this cattle. And Naruto was like, just stop, I don't want to do it, y'all go ahead. And like, Hinata like asks him like, Naruto, are you okay? And Naruto's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm just not doing it. And Kakashi tells him like, you know, you gotta do it if you still want to be a shinobi. And Naruto looks at him and was like, that is something for a lesser shinobi, which is something that I'm not. When we actually begin to do things that are worth my time, I'll come back. But until then, I don't want to be a part of that. And he walks off. And Kakashi was like, oh. So I guess I gotta go report this to Hiruzen. So like, at this point, Naruto's just walking around the village, because he doesn't really, like, he has a house, but he doesn't like going there anymore, because like, he hasn't been there in a while, and at this point, you know, it's probably covered in spiders and shit, so he just doesn't like to go to his house anymore. So like, he's walking around the village and he starts noticing like a whole bunch of like leaf shinobi are looking at him funny. And it's because they're like more higher ranking, so they basically ended up finding out what Naruto did. And one of them like finally gets enough, and he walks up to Naruto and he was like, so you think just because you have the shield you're better than most of us? And Naruto was like, what? And like, another one walks up and was like, yeah, we heard what you said about not trying to herd the sheep or cattle or whatever, because you think you're better than most shinobi. And Naruto tells him like, first off, why are you stuttering? Secondly, that's a mission for like a genin. Why are y'all even in my face? Better yet, and Naruto, like, he jumps back and he's like, y'all ran up on me like y'all were trying to fight. And like, he puts his shield in like a little defensive position. He's like, what's the word? And like, the shinobi, like, they stopped because they didn't assume Naruto was just gonna jump to this, because it's a whole bunch of them. But Naruto at this point, he doesn't really care. He was just trying to get a better mission. The fact that other shinobi thought that he was still trying to downplay them when he had nothing to do with, you know, the missions that they were getting assigned. But his missions were genin based missions. He wasn't really fucking with that. So he basically just told him like, if there's a problem, let's just fight it out right now. And one of the Shinobi that was like standing there with the other ones, he ran up on Naruto. Naruto basically he didn't like murk him, but he had a little hand-to-hand combat going on, but he didn't really land a hit on Naruto. Naruto was basically just blocking him with the shield. And then when Naruto finally got an opening, he hit him in the back of the neck. Go night-night. And after he does that, he looks up at the other Shinobis and he was like, is that the only one? I swear it's like 10 of y'all and only one of me. And he started scratching his head and he's like, maybe I did go a little overboard. But then again, I really wasn't using any strength. Or maybe I did jump to some type of conclusion. But you all ran up on me. So, what are we doing here? We done talking? Y'all wasn't expecting this. We're gonna go mind your business now. And at this point, everybody that ran over there to talk to Naruto about what happened, they're not ready to fight him. But they're concerned about fighting him because he took down a grown man just a few minutes ago. Not with ease, but more than short enough to make it look like he was holding back. So, they're a little concerned. And Naruto was like, oh. And he starts walking toward them. And like, the closer he gets, like they start looking at him and like they make a little path. And Naruto was like, oh, I assume so. And he walks through him. And like the Shinobi like completely they're confused now because they didn't think that the other ones were going to move for him. They thought oh, I'ma move for him and then they just not gonna move and then it's gonna be a whole nother fight. No, all of them move. So now they're all sitting there and like getting stared at like a whole bunch of shit. Like not Shinobi but civilians and little like Shinobi, basically like little Genin and stuff. And they're like, they really just let this random, because you gotta think, Naruto been gone for 3 years, so they don't really know. The only thing they know about is a shield, and they like, they just think that's a new person that's wielding it. Naruto got, like, he cut his hair low. So, yeah. No, it's not low, but it's jagged. It's more jagged. Because he was in that place for 3 years without, yeah. So, yeah, hair a little bit longer than normal. So... yeah, they really just let this kid, this teenager, just treat them like this. Like I don't think y'all are really deserving of y'all status. That level of disrespect, I wouldn't tolerate. And like Naruto's just walking off. He sees like Hinata, just looking through, being Hinata. She's like staring around the corner. Naruto he looks at her and looks away. And at this point, Naruto really doesn't care for anybody in the village, but he prefer for them not to get hurt because he hasn't seen them in a while. And the only reason why he doesn't necessarily care for anybody right now is because he figured out that Sasuke and Hinata were in on them getting the missions that they were getting. Like they got let in on it. So yeah. He not really messing with nobody right now. So he's just walking throughout the village, and eventually Kakashi and Hiruzen find him. And they basically start trying to tell him like, hey, you can't really be, you can't just leave your place, like you're a shinobi. And Naruto tells him like, oh, well, I swear I'm like an adult, basically. But I'm getting told to herd sheep and retrieve cats. Like as if I'm a genin, like I'm just leaving the academy. And Hiruzen basically tells him like those are only to just gauge your strength. And Naruto was like, just a few days ago, I was fighting paths of pain and 2 other fairly strong shinobi. And 1, you really think I can't? And like Hiruzen basically tells him like that's the problem. When you went in that room, you weren't as strong as that. We have to make sure you're in the right mental state. And right now, it just seems like you're throwing a hissy fit because you can't get a good mission. And Naruto looks at him and he's like, no, right now, I'm not throwing a hissy fit. I'm telling you that my powers, abilities, would be more useful hunting down the people that's currently trying to collect all the tailed beasts instead of us sitting here on our asses doing nothing while they do. And like Naruto walks off and like Kakashi like tries like tell Naruto to stop, and Hiruzen was like, nah, let him go. He got a point, cause like in reality we're just basically sitting here waiting until it's our turn. And like for the record, I didn't clarify this in the last part, but Gaara is fine. Like, it took him a few days, so like the 4 days that just transpired, they're gonna hear from Gaara, basically getting a thank you letter. So Naruto ends up like getting a messenger, ends up catching up to him, and he realizes it's from the Sand Village. And there's two. There's one to go to the Hokage, and there's one to go to Naruto. And you know, basically Naruto's note explains that, you know, Gaara's excited that he's finally resurfaced, and you know, he's also expressing major gratitude to saving him and helping his village. So like Gaara basically tells Naruto if he ever needs something, you know, just let him know. And then like, you know, Hiruzen's letter base like was village stuff, and they should like start preparing for war against the you know, them. So it's basically what Naruto was talking about. So after Hiruzen got his message, he assumed that Gaara and Naruto had this plan. So he reaches back out to Gaara and was like, you know, I appreciate the like, yeah, let's start this little, you know, training session stuff. Like, what's going on with that? We could start, you know, training up our people together. And basically, long story short, within those last I want to say 2 more days passed, they ended up sending over some people from each village. So like, I want to say, so they only sent instructors. So people like Kakashi, Guy, like strong instructors. People like Kakashi, Guy, and I don't know. I don't know a lot of people. And yeah, but that dude, I forgot his name. Anyway, yeah, they sent like 3 instructors over there, and they sent 3 instructors to the Leaf Village. Basically, they were seeing if, you know, if there would be any advantages to having, you know, different instructors in different places. And eventually they were going to meet these 2 groups that were being trained by these 3 different people from the 2 villages, and meet up in like a little neutral ground and figure out if they've gotten any stronger, you know. So yeah, but it was only the leader, like, so the small groups, so it was like Akashi's group, Guy's group, and I forgot that dude's name. Shikamaru's group. That's yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah, cause yeah, R.I.P. that man. So yeah, he in Shikamaru's group leader, he goes over there, and then they send 3 over there. I don't know anybody from there besides like the 3 main people, and let's be honest, I don't think they would send Gaara over there to train anybody. So yeah, Naruto basically gets left, not completely out of the training session, because like after a while they discovered that Naruto really doesn't need the training, because everything that they were talking about, if he didn't know, he excelled at. So it really didn't make any sense for him to be there, like physical strength, you know. And it's not like he had enough like chakra to really do any jutsus that they were actually trying to teach them anyway. So yeah, well, not enough chakra, but he didn't have the experience with the elements of chakra, if that makes any sense. So like fire, you know, that stuff. Yeah, anyway, so after a few days, they all meet up in the middle, and this is where I'm gonna end this part off. If y'all enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. Anyway, this has been Shinobi. Peace.